Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print. And today we're talking about the last book in the Jedi Academy Trilogy by Kevin J. Anderson. This came out in 1994, and it's called Champions of the Force. So, picking up where we left off from Dark Apprentice, Kip Durin will take the Sun Crusher to Caridia, or Carida, I think. I don't know. I pronounce it both ways. To save his brother, Zeth. Now, Zeth is thought dead, and so Kip is pissed off, and so he's like, you know what? He's dead. I'm gonna get revenge on all you guys, and he uses the Sun Crusher to basically blow up the star to make the planet go supernova and blow up. So Zeth, surprise, is actually revealed to be alive, but unfortunately he dies along with the rest of the planet. So Kip is basically referred to as the Butcher, and he is devastated by this. So, jumping back over to Yavin 4, Luke Skywalker's students are still trying to figure out how to bring him back. Remember, in the last book, he was separated, his spirit was separated from his body. So, the students are trying to figure out how to get him back and defeat Exar Kun, who's kind of the guy who did all this. So, I remember, and ultimately, they are successful in doing this. Luke is able to come back. There's kind of a cool scene. Jason Solo, he's like 2, but Luke's spirit helps guide him and wields Luke's lightsaber against like these demonic Sith spirits, whatever. Ultimately, though, the students are successful. They do defeat Exar Kun, and Luke is put back into his body. I remember it basically in the story, it happens very quickly, like very early on than what I thought. And I remember thinking that, like, that was fast. I thought this was going to be more of a thing. But anyways, but yeah, you get that cool scene of Luke guiding Jason, which I really like, but it's a very, very quick thing. Dala is also defeated in her plans, which will be a reoccurring pattern throughout the rest of the expanded universe post Return of the Jedi. She's an interesting cat. She keeps coming back, but each time she learns from her mistakes, and she gets better and better and better. And I remember by the time you get to the Fate of the Jedi series, you're like, holy cow, like Dala's kind of, a lot better than what she was. Now, obviously, she doesn't ultimately succeed, but that's another tale for another day. But she's an interesting cat. She's a very interesting villain, and definitely a very unique villain. You think, oh, it's another Imperial person. It's going to be like Tarkin or Thrawn. No, Kevin J made her very unique and interesting, and I was always interested and looking forward to what her ultimate goal would be whenever she did pop up. So throughout the trilogy, there's several subplots. Wedge completes a mission and meets and falls in love with Kwai, I don't know. And Mon Mothma is healed, ultimately, and because she had been poisoned prior. And actually, a fun fact here, George Lucas actually vetoed her death. They asked him if that was okay, that they could kill her off, and he said no. So, interesting. I don't know why that was a character he was okay. He didn't want to be killed, but okay. So, ultimately, at the end of this, Kip is redeemed, and basically is about to face punishment for all of his actions that he did, and Luke basically vouches for him. And it feels like, or it felt like to me at least, while reading this, that Luke was not only trying to vouch for Kip to the characters in the novel, he was also trying to vouch for Kip to us, the readers, and basically trying to say, like, hey, look, like, yes, he did slip and fall, but it ultimately wasn't him that was doing that. It was the spirit of Exar Kun. So for me, I can kind of buy it. I know readers weren't too keen on this. Again, one of the reasons, I guess, why people don't really like Kevin J. Anderson's Star Wars books. I personally do. It made sense to me. Again, if a spirit of an ancient Sith Lord is possessing you, yeah, what else do you think is going to happen, right? So it worked for me, and it seems to work for everyone else too, though not everyone. We'll find out that Corran Horn isn't too keen on that, but we'll get to that. So, I guess to wrap up here, is the novel Champions of the Force, is this an essential read? Yes. Duh. Obviously it is. Regardless of not of whether you're reading this trilogy, which I would hope you're reading this trilogy, especially if you're on book 3. But yeah, this is obviously an essential read. It signals the end of Exar Kun. It sets up Kip Duran for being a major player in Luke's order. It obviously sets up Leia becoming the new chief of state. There's a whole bunch of things in here, which is very, very key. And it's basically the end of the first class of Luke's order. They're continuing on, and eventually they'll get the second class. So the first class of Luke's order is very, very cool. There's been people who've talked about it. You have people, obviously, like Kip Duran. We find out Corran Horn was a part of that. Baracus, Mara Jade, Kyle Katarn, a whole bunch of people. We find out, too, I believe that it was Kip Duran who actually, his whole fall to the dark side that kind of spooked Kyle Katarn into giving Luke his lightsaber, and that is where we pick up in the video game Jedi Outcast, which comes out way later. So, again, kind of a cool little thing that they picked up from here. So, I love the Jedi Academy Trilogy. Is it my favorite Star Wars book trilogy? No, it's not. But is it good? Oh, I think it's great. And it's a great, another kickoff into this new Jedi Order that I love. I personally think Luke's order is better than the old, but that's just me. So, anyways, folks, that is all the time I have for today, and I will see you next time with another episode of the Star Wars Library.